My fiancé said, "After we're married, you'll be helping my ex financially. That's part of the deal." I didn't argue. All right. I quietly removed one document from a folder she'd never bothered to read. That evening, she opened her email and froze at the subject line. "I'm 34, been engaged for 3 months now. We'd been dating for about 2 years before I proposed. She's a regional manager for a retail chain. I work in finance doing investment advising. Met through mutual friends at a backyard cookout, hit it off over terrible jokes and good beer. Things moved steadily, no red flags that I could see, until about a month ago. We were planning the wedding, going through guest lists and seating charts at her apartment. She had this big binder full of ideas she'd been collecting since before we even met. Ribbons, color swatches, the whole deal. I was mostly there to nod and agree, honestly. Then she got to the budget spreadsheet. "So, I've been thinking about finances after the wedding," she said, highlighting something on her laptop. "Yeah, we should probably sit down with my financial advisor, set up joint accounts properly." "Right, about that. I need to talk to you about something important." The way she said it made me look up from my phone. "Okay, what's up?" "You know my ex-husband? The one you divorced 3 years ago?" "Yeah, you've mentioned him." "So, he's been struggling financially. Lost his job about 6 months ago, having trouble finding work in his field." "That sucks. But what does that have to do with us?" She closed her laptop, turned to face me fully. "When we got divorced, part of the settlement was that I'd help support him if he ever fell on hard times. It was his lawyer's idea, said it was only fair since I made more money during the marriage." "Okay, but you're divorced now. That's over. The agreement doesn't expire, it's permanent." I blinked. "You have to support your ex-husband permanently?" "Only if he needs it. And right now, he needs it." "How much are we talking?" "About $1,500 a month. Maybe $2,000 if his rent goes up." I put my phone down. $2,000 a month to your ex-husband? It's not that much. It's $24,000 a year. That's not nothing." "I know, but I signed the agreement. I have to follow through." "You signed it, not me." She got that look, the one where she's about to explain something like I'm being slow. "When we get married, my obligations become your obligations. That's how marriage works." "That's not how marriage works. Your debt from before doesn't automatically become mine unless I agree to it." "But you're going to agree to it because you love me and you want to support me." "Supporting you is different from supporting your ex-husband. It's the same thing. What affects me affects you." "No, it's really not the same thing." She sighed, closed her eyes for a second. "Look, I knew you'd react like this. That's why I waited to tell you. But this is non-negotiable. After we're married, you'll be helping my ex financially. That's part of the deal." I sat there looking at her, really looking at her, trying to figure out if she was joking, if this was some weird test. But she was dead serious. "All right," I said. She perked up. "Really? Just like that?" "What else am I supposed to say? You just told me it's non-negotiable." "I mean, you could argue, you could storm out, you could... Would any of that change anything?" "No." "Then all right, I'll think about it." "There's nothing to think about." I said I'll think about it. The conversation ended there. I went home that night with a lot on my mind. Didn't sleep much. Spent most of the night going through paperwork I'd been putting together for our marriage. Financial documents, asset lists, stuff my advisor had recommended I organize. And that's when I remembered something she'd signed about 2 months ago. Update 1. When we first got engaged, I'd asked her to sign a prenup. She'd resisted at first, said it wasn't romantic, that it meant I didn't trust her. But I'd explained it was standard practice in my line of work, that I'd be signing one too, that it was just protecting both of us. She'd finally agreed, but only if her lawyer could review it first. I said fine, sent it to her lawyer, waited 3 weeks while they supposedly went over it. Her lawyer came back with some minor changes. I agreed to them, we both signed. The thing is, I don't think she ever actually read it. She trusted her lawyer to handle it, signed where she was told to sign, and that was that. The prenup had a pretty standard clause about premarital debts and obligations. Basically, anything she owed before the marriage stayed hers. Anything I owed stayed mine. We'd split shared expenses, but individual obligations remained individual. That included her agreement to support her ex. I pulled out my copy, reread it 3 times to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding. Then I called my lawyer, a guy I'd known since college. "Hey, quick question about the prenup I had you draft." "Sure, what's up?" "The clause about premarital obligations. That covers spousal support agreements from previous marriages, right?" "Absolutely. If she's paying alimony or has any financial obligations from a previous marriage, those stay her responsibility. You're completely protected." "And she signed this?" "Yeah, you both signed it 8 weeks ago. It's filed and official." "Did her lawyer not explain this to her?" "I spoke with her lawyer directly, went over every clause. If she didn't understand something, that's between her and her attorney." I thanked him, hung up, and sat there thinking. She'd told me helping her ex was non-negotiable, that my obligations included hers. But legally, she'd already agreed that wasn't true, which meant either she'd forgotten what she signed or she'd never bothered to read it in the first place. I needed to test something. Update 2. The next day, I went back to her place. She was in a good mood, probably thought I'd just accepted the ex-husband support situation. "Hey, so I've been thinking about what you said," I started. "And?" "I want to see the divorce decree, the part about the financial support agreement." Her face changed. "Why?" "Because if I'm going to be contributing to this, I want to understand the exact terms." "You don't need to see it?" "Yeah, I do. You're asking me to pay thousands of dollars a year to your ex-husband. I think I have a right to know what I'm agreeing to." She hesitated, then shrugged. "Fine, I'll send it to you later." "Can you send it now? I've got time to look it over." "I'm busy right now. It'll take you 2 seconds to forward an email or take a picture of the document." "Why are you being so pushy about this? Why are you being so weird about showing me?" We stared at each other. Finally, she grabbed her phone, scrolled through her emails, and forwarded something to me. I opened it on my phone, read through the divorce decree, the settlement terms, found the section about financial support. It wasn't permanent. It was for 5 years or until he remarried, whichever came first. The divorce was 3 years ago, which meant this obligation ended in 2 years maximum. "This says 5 years," I said. "So? You told me it was permanent." "It might as well be. 2 more years is basically permanent." "That's not what permanent means. You're splitting hairs, and it ends if he gets married. He's not getting married anytime soon." "How do you know?" "Because I know him. He's not the type to jump into another relationship." "But you did. You're getting married again. That's different." "How?" She closed her laptop. "Can we not do this right now? I have a headache." I pocketed my phone. "Yeah, sure. Feel better." I left. Drove around for a while thinking, she'd lied to me. Or at the very least, she'd bent the truth to make it sound worse than it was. Permanent obligation versus 2 years maximum. That's a massive difference. And if she'd lie about that, what else had she lied about? Update 3. I started digging, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to know what I was actually dealing with. First, I called a buddy who works in HR at the company where her ex used to work. Asked casual questions about hiring in that industry, whether there were a lot of openings. He mentioned that actually, yeah, that sector was booming right now. Lots of companies hiring. "Why, you know someone looking?" he asked. "Maybe. Got a friend in that field who's been out of work. Tell him to send me his resume. We've got 3 positions open right now." So her ex was supposedly struggling to find work in a field that was actively hiring. Interesting. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I looked up her ex on social media. Found him pretty easily. His profile wasn't private, and it was full of pictures from the past 6 months of him at restaurants, bars, concerts. Didn't look like a guy who was struggling financially. One photo from 2 weeks ago caught my eye. Him with a woman, arms around each other, caption reading, 6 months with this one. They looked pretty cozy. So he had a girlfriend. Had her for 6 months, which meant he wasn't exactly alone and desperate like my fiancé had implied. I screenshotted everything, saved it to a folder on my laptop. That night, she called me. "Hey, I'm sorry about earlier. I know I've been weird about this whole money thing. It's fine. It's not fine. You have every right to ask questions. I should have been more upfront from the beginning." "Okay." So I was thinking, maybe we could set up a time to sit down with a financial planner, figure out a budget that works for both of us. "Sure, that sounds good." "Great. I'll look at our calendars and send you some options." "Perfect. I love you." "Love you too." I hung up and felt absolutely nothing. That scared me more than anything else. A week ago, I would have meant those words. Now they just felt like sounds. Update 4. The next morning, I texted her. "Hey, random question. Does your ex have a girlfriend?" She replied an hour later. "Why are you asking?" "Just curious. You mentioned he wasn't the type to jump into relationships. I don't keep tabs on his personal life. But you know enough to say he needs financial support. That's different. I know about his work situation because he tells me. You guys still talk?" "Occasionally, just logistics stuff." "What kind of logistics? Does it matter?" "Kind of, yeah. If I'm paying into this, I'd like to know why he can't support himself." "You're not paying into it, I am. It's my obligation." "You said what's yours becomes mine when we get married." "That's not what I meant." "That's exactly what you said." She didn't reply for 2 hours. When she did, it was just, "Can we talk about this in person?" "Sure. When?" "Tonight? Come over around 7. I showed up at 7. She had wine already poured, music playing, trying to set a mood. "So, I think we need to talk about expectations," she started. "I agree. I feel like you've been really focused on this money thing, and I get it, but you're losing sight of the bigger picture." "What's the bigger picture?" "Us. Our future. Building a life together." "And that life includes me funding your ex-husband?" "It includes you supporting me through my obligations. That's what partners do. Partners are also honest with each other." "I have been honest." "You said the support was permanent. It's not. You said he was struggling to find work. His field is hiring. You said he wasn't the type to be in a relationship. He's had a girlfriend for 6 months. Her face went pale. "How do you know that?" "Social media. It's all public." "You're stalking him?" "I looked at his profile once. That's not stalking." "You have no right. I have every right to know what I'm getting into. You ask me to help support someone. I'm gonna make sure that support is actually needed." "It is needed." "Is it?" "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like he's doing fine. And it looks like you've been lying to me about the situation." She stood up, started pacing. "This is exactly why I didn't want to get into details. I knew you'd overanalyze everything. Wanting accurate information isn't overanalyzing. You're trying to find reasons not to help him. I'm trying to understand why you're so invested in helping an ex-husband who seems to be doing fine without you. Because I made a commitment that ends in 2 years, and probably sooner if he marries his girlfriend. He's not going to marry her." "How do you know?" She stopped pacing, just stood there, and something in her expression changed. "Oh my God," I said. "You don't want him to marry her." "That's not... You're still hung up on him." "I am not." "Then why do you care so much about supporting him? Why lie about the terms? Why lie about his situation?" "I didn't lie." "You absolutely did. About multiple things. Which makes me think this isn't really about honoring some divorce agreement. This is about you wanting to stay connected to him." She sat back down, put her face in her hands. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me." He was my first love, my first marriage, and I screwed it up. I cheated, we fell apart, and I've spent 3 years feeling guilty about it. The support payments are my way of making amends. So you want to keep paying him out of guilt? Yes. And you expect me to contribute to your guilt payments. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. I stood up. I'm gonna go. Wait. I need to think, we both need to think, because right now, I don't see how this works. I left before she could argue. Update 5. I spent the weekend alone, just processing everything. Monday morning, I called my lawyer again. I need to know my options here. Can I back out of the engagement? Engagement isn't a legal contract. You can walk away anytime. The prenup only matters if you actually get married. And if I do get married, the prenup protects me from her obligations? Completely. But honestly, man, if you're already having these doubts, maybe don't get married. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Want me to draft a letter officially ending the engagement? Might be cleaner. Let me talk to her first. I went to her apartment that evening. She looked like she hadn't slept, eyes red and puffy. I'm sorry, she said immediately. For lying, for not being upfront, for all of it. Okay. I've been thinking a lot this weekend about why I've been so weird about this. And you're right, part of it is guilt. But also, I think I've been using the support payments as an excuse to stay in touch with him. Why? Because letting go is hard. Because admitting the marriage is really over is hard. And as long as I'm sending him money, as long as we're still connected financially, it doesn't feel completely finished. That's not healthy. I know. I've been in therapy, and my therapist has been telling me the same thing. That I need closure, that I need to let him go fully. But I haven't been able to do it. And now you want me to be part of that dysfunction? I don't want you to be part of anything. I want you to be my husband. I want us to build a life. But I haven't dealt with my past, and it's bleeding into our future. So deal with it. I'm trying. No, really deal with it. Stop the payments. Cut contact. Move on. I can't. Why not? Because I signed an agreement that says you pay if he needs it. Does he need it? She didn't answer. From what I can see, he's got a job, a girlfriend, and a full social life. He's not struggling. You're just sending him money because you want an excuse to stay connected. Maybe, probably, but what if I stop and he really does need it later? Then he can ask and you can evaluate. But right now, you're just giving away money, our potential money, for no real reason. She nodded slowly. You're right. I know you're right. I don't know how to let go. Start by being honest. With him, with yourself, with me. Okay. I mean it. No more lies, no more half-truths. If we're going to make this work, I need complete honesty. I promise. She meant it. I could tell. But I also knew that promises made in emotional moments don't always stick. Final update. I gave her a week. Told her I needed to see action, not just words. She needed to either stop the payments or provide legitimate evidence that her ex actually needed them. 3 days later, she called him. Put it on speaker so I could hear. Told him she was reevaluating the support payments, that she needed to know his current financial situation. He was confused at first, then annoyed. Why does this matter now? You've been paying for 3 years. Because I'm getting married, and my fiancé wants to understand our financial obligations. Your finances aren't his business. Actually, they are. We're going to be married. Look, if you want to stop paying, just say so. Do you need the money? Silence. Be honest. Do you actually need it, or have you just been taking it because it's available? More silence. Then, I got a new job 4 months ago. Pays pretty well. I've been putting your payments into savings, figured I'd use it as a down payment on a house eventually. She looked at me. I looked at her. So you don't need it, she said. I mean, it's nice to have, But you don't need it. No, I guess not. She took a breath. Then I'm stopping the payments. Effective immediately. Wait, what about the agreement? The agreement says I support you if you need it. You don't need it, so we're done. You can't just, I can, and I am. I hope things work out with your girlfriend. She hung up before he could respond. We sat there in silence for a minute. How do you feel? I asked. Lighter, scared, free. That's good. Is it enough for us? I thought about it, really thought about it. I don't know yet, but it's a start. We didn't get married when we'd originally planned. Pushed the wedding back 6 months. Used that time to do couples counseling, really dig into trust issues and communication. It's been 4 months now. She's been completely transparent with finances, with her past, with everything. No more secrets, no more half-truths. Her ex tried to contact her a few times. She didn't respond. Eventually, he stopped. We reset the wedding date for next spring. Smaller ceremony, less expensive, more intimate, just the people who matter. I'm 34, still engaged, still figuring it out. But at least now we're figuring it out honestly. And that prenup? It's still in place. She actually read it this time, asked questions, made sure she understood every clause. Trust takes time to rebuild, but at least we're building on truth now, not on lies and guilt and unfinished business. That's gotta count for something.